2 weeks ago, I created a survey and sent it to subscribers and listeners of 2x2. And I asked them this question, and I quote, have you made a trip abroad to attend a live event in 2023 or 2024? That was the first question. The second question was, assuming you did attend an event abroad outside India in 2023 or 2024, was there the option for you to attend a similar event or the same event in India? Yes or no? So then I took all the people who put yes and I looked at the events that they said they went outside India to attend, even though options for it existed inside India. And here is the list. Auto Show Paris in 2023. Veer Das, stand-up comedian in USA. Then after that is a long list of musicians. There is Dua Lipa in Singapore, Ed Sheeran in Malaysia. All of them have performed in India. And then I have a sea of Coldplay because it's Coldplay season. Coldplay's concert in Singapore, Coldplay in Dubai, Coldplay in Barcelona, Coldplay in Thailand, Coldplay in Bangkok. Then I have Indian performers whom people refused to attend in India and went abroad. Diljit in Bombay. Then I have one performer whom my age is showing. I don't know who this is. His name is Böhmer. It's a concert that they attended in Bali, but I looked it up. He apparently came to India in December as well. Then there was a list of cricket matches, which I understand. And most interestingly after that was half marathons. People are choosing to attend half marathons outside India instead of attending them in India. Now I'll get to the reasons of this. But my first question to everybody in this group is this the ultimate form of Indians paying for convenience over availability? My first guest is Shreya Srinivasan, the founder of Insider, which was later acquired by Paytm and then later acquired by Zomato. And now it's newly christened District, essentially an events platform. My second guest is Sudhir Syal. Sudhir is the former CEO of two important geographies of Book My Show. He was the former CEO of Book My Show in Indonesia, and he was the former CEO of Book My Show in Middle East.
Shreyas, please, both you and Sudhir, if you could tell us, what's the least worst algorithm to distribute tickets? I'm not asking for the technical implementation for it. I'm asking what's the least worst or most fair algorithm to distribute tickets when, like you said, it's going to be 1:25 supply demand mismatch. So how do you do it? And also it's all concentrated in a very short duration because everyone's hitting the site at the same time trying to book it. What would you recommend?
So first of all, from a technology point of view, after having attended a lot of conferences about ticketing, I think we are far ahead of technology than most of the world, right? People are more frustrated with the ticket booking experience in Europe and America than they are in India, right? I categorically say it from sitting down with those representatives and comparing one system against another, right? Second, I think the demand supply problem is true. One thing we missed is 5 million people is 15 million tickets. Okay, 5 million people is not 5 million tickets. So when you say it's 1:21, it's actually 1:63. Right? It's 3x worse the problem than we anticipated. So this problem is not fixable from a technology point of view. It's not a technology problem. Yes, sometimes sites go down, but here the problem with sites going down is amplified because the window is so small, right? And absolutely taken, most of the industry should do better. Sites shouldn't go down when a big release happens. All of those points are taken. Those are fixable problems, right? We know how to fix it. The part which is not fixable is the supply-demand mismatch, right? And the only way to fix that is for us to invent a new system. I had written a post on LinkedIn, which I hate the waiting queue system because it's the most inhumane system. It's exactly like how we did about giving vaccines and COVID, right? It's about standing in one big queue, not knowing who's in front of you, who's behind you, how is this queue moving. So I have said India has one advantage over the rest of the world. We have a beautifully KYC'd payment system called UPI. And we have done something amazing with IPOs where you can use UPI to set up an IPO subscription and you get allotment depending on how big this, how many people subscribed and what was the amount of money the company wants to raise. So my solution to this, which I have now propagated to various people across
That
industry.
example, doesn't it counter what you said? People have no issues submitting their details in anticipation of an IPO and then being told at some point that whether you got it or not. Why wouldn't they be okay with that same
But
construct?
they're not waiting for it on the page. The frustration comes from being on the page, right? Seeing a counter move and suddenly the counter becoming more, counter becoming less, right?
Suddenly the page refreshing.
The page refreshes, your internet connection goes down, you rejoin, you're at the end of the queue. The user experience on that page is just the most horrendous thing. And both Book My Show and Insider does it. It's not like it's only Book My Show does it. We have done it, and I have internally been a critic of it, saying that, boss, please, this is horrible, right? So I would say that India can do better. I think like we can mimic what we do with an IPO. It's slightly different from a lottery, like Wimbledon does lottery. Right?
Yeah.
Wimbledon does lottery where, in fact, Wimbledon goes to a level where there are different allocations to people who stay around Wimbledon. Correct. They get a different percentage of odds on the lottery. So they're fairly evolved systems. I think we can do something around how the IPO works in India with UPI, and I think that'll be a much better system.
So it's a form of a lucky draw in some ways.
It is a form of a lucky draw, but the only difference is depends on how many subscriptions you get. See, in a lucky draw, it's not very evident, right? See, for instance, you wanted 2 tickets in a lucky draw. You either get 2 or 0, right? In an IPO subscription, you can get 1. You say, boss, listen, you can only get 1 ticket. Do you want it or not? If you can say, I don't want it, no problem.
I'm getting IRCTC vibes here that you asked for 2 tickets. One is in a different compartment and it's an upper berth. The other one is in a different compartment and it's a seating ticket.
That won't happen. That won't happen, bro. Honestly, IRCTC could fix it. I mean, we're not saying IRCTC can't fix the issue.
I love the direction. UPI, IRCTC, we are one step away from solving it.
So I'll just take that same point, Shreyas, because that's actually a great segue to the question that Rohan asked earlier. Because one of the things that I noticed, especially in the Coldplay thing, but also what happened was a ton of people saw this as potentially a revenue making opportunity. So a bunch of people came in on the Coldplay thing, and I imagine that entrepreneurial people, because this is India, came in and stood it basically in queue, which we've also seen happens in previously whenever queue standing is there, there's an arbitrage opportunity. Whoever is willing to put in the time and the effort and the investment goes in, gets some tickets, and then starts selling it at a higher price, like what Rohan said. And of course, there are a bunch of people who bought that as well. But as the number of shows got added, it was very painfully evident, especially in the last week before Coldplay was supposed to perform in Bombay, that a lot of these people who ended up buying those tickets were trying to get rid of them at cost or sometimes even lower. And there was a lot of these other people online saying, oh, finally, these guys who basically try to, scalp tickets are now paying the price. Do not buy it from them. Make sure that you sell it to you at lower than MRP so that they don't do this again. Why wouldn't this happen again? Why can't some enterprising person
That's a very weird flex, right? So basically, they're essentially saying don't go to the Coldplay event unless you can punish the person who's selling you the ticket. It's like, what are these incentives?
Yes.
So one obvious point is it's illegal in India. Okay. Today's secondary markets on tickets is an illegal property in India. The only person who can facilitate secondary sales is the organizer himself.
If you'd like to listen to the full episode, you can head over right now to the Ken and become a premium subscriber to catch up on everything else that we've discussed. Your premium subscription will also get you access to all of our long-form stories, newsletters, visual stories, and all the other podcasts that we produce. Or if you want to just sample full episodes of 2x2, you can do that by becoming a premium subscriber on Apple Podcasts at a really great monthly price. Lastly, if you enjoyed listening to this episode, let us know by rating the podcast on your favorite podcast streaming platform. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week with another exciting episode.